Hey guys, welcome to Hari's Academy. So in the last section we have discussed about IAM and IAM users. Today we are going to learn about IAM groups. Okay, so what are the difference between users and groups? We are going to learn in more detail. So let's move on. Because in your institution you have thousands of people who are working on the similar activities. Like suppose 100 people are working on admin activities. I have to create 100 users separately and give permissions to each and every individual. Here I have only one policy which is given to one user, but it could be like multiple policies can be assigned to particular user and it can be similar across multiple people as well. So in that case, what will I do? Instead of giving access to each and every individual, it is a very tedious task. What I'll go and create a group. So I'll go to dashboard here and then I'll go to groups. There are already few groups created here, but I'm going to create a new group here. Okay, I'm going to create a group called administration. Okay, here I'm going to create administration group and I'll go to next step. And if you see the same kind of screen we have seen when we are trying to give permissions to a particular user, right? Attach policy. So I'll attach some policies like I want to give administrative access, which is the full access. If I don't want to give admin access, I want to give only S3, which is like they will have access to only S3 service, which we are going to learn in detail. This is also one of the service which we are going to learn. So S3 is one topic, or you can give different services. You can search for that particular service and give it. Okay, and for now I'm going to administrative access and then going to next step. Right, policy is also not required for now. I can detach the policy here. I can very well detach it from groups itself. I can go and click on detach policy here. I can detach it here. Now let me go to IAM again and I can see there are 3 groups created. Now what I'll do for the user which I have created already, I will try to add group to it. You can add it this way, or you can go to group and you can add a user from there. Any way is possible. I'll add users to groups. The group which I wanted to add is administration and add to groups. Now you can see there is one group added in this particular user, which is administration, and it has administrator access. And the similar access I have here also. So I can do one thing, I can remove this here, which is not necessary right now because my permissions are getting inherited from the group directly. So I need not worry about permissions which are given to individual user, which is not required for now. I can see it attached from group in the permissions tag. Earlier it was showing only one policy added, which is in the user itself, but now it is showing from group. Right, this is how we can inherit any other accesses from the groups. Right, so you might be having a question like there might be some ambiguity if I am going to give administrative access here and if I am going to give add permissions to user. I am going to say suppose deny. I'll go to attach policies directly and then I'll go to deny, AWS deny all, and go next review, add permissions to it. So now I have added permissions to the user, which is AWS deny all, and I have given one more permission from AWS group which says administrative access, so which will take precedence over it. Right, so it is a contradictory statement. I am telling you to that from group I am giving an access to administrator, but again I am saying like deny all, which is almost opposite to each other. Which one will take precedence? This one will take precedence. Why? Because not just because it is added directly to the user, but because it is having deny. Deny will be having more precedence than allow. So that is the reason deny always takes more precedence over allow. So I'll remove this for now. That way you can, okay, now I don't have access to it because I have added deny to it. Let me deny it once again. So I'm not able to delete this. Let me go to I'll sign out of this. I'll log into my root account now because I don't have access to it now because of deny. Now you would have seen the just immediate effect of adding that particular policy. I was not able to do that operation on my user account itself, right? So now I'm going to log in with my root account. Okay, I'll clear this one and then I'll go to my root account, sign in. Okay, and then I'll try to edit it from here now. Because I was logged into that particular admin account and I had deny permissions added to that particular thing, I was not able to do any changes to my account. So how powerful the deny permissions are. That is the reason it is very important to understand what kind of access we are giving it to, right? Now I'll go to users, I'll go to admin user, which is going to be loaded now. Okay, so you should ensure like these things are taken care while creating an access. You have to understand, like if you want to give an access to anyone, try to give as minimal permissions as possible. Don't give full access if it is not required at that time, right? If only read-only access is given to needed to be given to one particular service, please give only read-only access rather than giving full access to everything, right? That way you can reduce the breach. Data breach can be reduced. People might not be matured enough with the security thing and all, right? So they might end up opening up the port to everyone, which will end up breach of your data completely. So I just load it once again. It is taking time. Go to users and see if it is, yeah, now I can see this user. I'll go to admin user now. I have seen like this deny permission is not allowing me to do anything, so I'll just remove it. Because it is a root account now, I am safe. Otherwise I would have reached out to a person who is having a root account, then they will be able to give you the access to it. Now I have removed that. Now because I have removed that, I'll be able to log into my IAM user as well. So I'll go to my account, root account, and sign out of this, right? And then let me log into my IAM user account, which got locked out because of deny access. Now let me log into my admin user and see if I'll be able to log in back or not, because now I have removed the permissions, deny permissions from my admin account. So I think yes, I can log into my account right now. It is very easy now. So that is the importance of deny permissions. So whenever you want to when you are giving contradictory permissions and all, deny takes a precedence, right, over allow. That's how we have seen how groups are important and how we can assign multiple users to one particular group, making our lives easier rather than attaching each and every single policy to each and every user. It is very easy to create a group for similar kind of activities done by people, and then we can assign users to it. We can also do one thing, we can go to groups and suppose this is the group I want to add users to. I can directly go to users and add users to group. I can select multiple users at one go and then start giving this access to that particular users as well. So that is the greatest of groups. This way it makes our life much more easier. I hope the concepts are very clear about groups as well as users, which we have discussed in previous lecture. So let's move on to the next topic, which is roles. So what are roles and why it is very important to have a role, right? So to authenticate whether we are a valid user or not, there are different ways to do it. We have seen, like, we have created a group, we have created a user in top of it, and then given some permissions to it. Suppose if I want to access the services in between in the AWS itself, like suppose if I have a service called EC2 and if I want to access S3, then what I can do, right? So let's see more in detail about one example. I have kept it for you, which will be easier for you to understand what is the use case of a role, right? Suppose if I have to access EC2 instance, which is a virtual machine in AWS, I wanted to access this with a storage capacity which is S3, simple storage service. Suppose I have access only a read-only policy. If I have access to this particular S3, this is the individual permissions which I have, or which is inherited from a group. Still I wanted to access this for read write, suppose, right? So what I can do is I can create a role, and in that role I can assign a particular permission to that particular role, so that if my EC2 wants to do some operations on S3 which is not mentioned in the user permissions itself initially, still I'll be able to wear that hat and then start doing it. So it will assume, the IAM role will assume that this EC2 will have access to S3. This is one example. We'll go to one more example of one role. So here, suppose if I have an S3 bucket and my IAM policy is restricted access to this particular S3 bucket, right? But at times when it is required, this role is like it will give you temporary permissions to access that particular resource. It will be like the permissions will be generated, the permission will be generated randomly, and it will be only for temporary time period. This way it will make you more secure. So though you don't have access directly to it, but still your system wanted to access because of some other reason, because of the IAM role assigned to it. So IAM admin policy which is assigned to it, this assumes that this user has an access to the S3 bucket which was restricted earlier, and it was only for that particular moment, and then once the work is done, then it will revoke back to the same user access, right? So that way it will create randomly the access to that particular resource, and then it will roll the access back. That way it will be helpful. So if you are not doing this way, what will happen is like we'll have to store the password somewhere, and that would be creating more issues. We'll learn more in details about roles when we create it. For now, this understanding should be sufficient. Okay, let's move on and create a role here. I'll go to roles, which is there in IAM again, and then I can create a role here. So in these roles, if you see, there are similar kind of options here. We can select one option like which source and destination should be mentioned here. I want to say like EC2, okay, and then I'll click on next permissions. So my EC2 should be able to access what? I'll give S3 here, and I can say S3 full access. Again, I am telling you one more thing here. Whenever you want to give permissions, you have to understand whether it is absolutely required to give entire permission. The permission should be very minimal to the use, right? It should not be extra. So if I'm willing to only give access to like read-only access to S3, I'll have to go and check read-only only and not S3 full access. That way we are reducing the level of breach by giving the minimal permissions to the particular user, right? So suppose if I want to give only read-only access, I can give this one. And as you already know, like we can see the JSON policy here to understand more in details like what is written over here. Now I think you should be able to understand the JSON as well. It shows effect allow. So what you want to allow? You want to allow few permissions like S3 get and S3 list. So this is nothing but only whatever related to buckets, like reading the bucket or opening the list of items which are there in the bucket. That is one thing which you can access, not all, right? And resource, when I give star, it will be like for all, right? So I can give an ARN number here to restrict it to only one particular resource, right? For now it is all, and then I'll go to tags. It is similar way which we have done already. This is for S3 read only access. Some valid name I can give it here, and then go for review. Then I can give the name as EC2 S3 read only access. It should be separated with hyphen read only access. This way I can give here. So you can see the role description also. It says allow EC2 instances to call AWS services on your behalf. So whatever AWS services it is trying to access, we have given the destination as well, right? The policy which is required on top of what. So EC2 is trying to access S3 and it has only read only access. This is what it interprets. And now I can create a role on this. This way I can create a role, and now my EC2 instance can directly talk to S3 and list. It will be only able to list the items and not do anything else on S3. So it cannot access other services because no access is given to the other services. Only access is given to S3, which is only read-only access. So we will see this with an example when we learn about EC2 in more detail. Then roles are more. It will make more sense to you when we go and check it in roles. When we discuss about EC2, right? For now, this should be fine for now. In case you have any other queries on this particular topic, please do let us know in the comment section below, and I would love to answer your questions and have you on pace with me to the next topic. So thank you so much guys. We'll see you in the next lecture. Till then, goodbye. Take care.